Right. With me today on this episode is Colin Thomerson, rockstar lender in Raleigh. Welcome, Colin.
Thanks for having me. Always enjoy being with you.
Yeah, it's always interesting hanging out with you. So real quick, why don't you give us a quick story? What's your role? How long you been in the business? What do you do?
So I am a producing branch manager for Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. I've been with Fairway for nearly 8 years. I've been in the business 24 years that I've been helping people finance homes.
Fantastic. And so tell me what's special about Fairway.
My favorite thing about being part of Fairway is being part of something bigger than myself. Loans are what we do. It's not who we are. The community that we have within the organization, this family that I'm so fortunate to be part of. My life's been better since day one, and I'm so grateful for it.
How do you show up when you're with a client?
Genuinely and authentically.
When a client's sitting across from you, what can they expect? The truth. If you were to state one superpower that's your strongest, what is that?
Compassion.
How does that play a role in making you successful?
We all need compassion. We all need grace. Those that we serve and ourselves as well. This business, there's a lot of ups, and I've had highs, peaks, and valleys emotionally today, like I do many days. But I've gone from really high to picking myself off the ground a couple of cycles today, actually. And in the compassion that I have for myself and the service that we do, the work that we do, really gives me the strength to get back up when I get knocked down. Compassion postures me from my disposition to where can understand that I understand where people are coming from better. And that gives me the opportunity to get out of my own way. A lot of the challenges that I have are self-inflicted. And if I'm thinking about others and not myself, my problems tend to hold less weight, if not dissipate altogether.
How do you show compassion for yourself?
I make myself a priority. I am one of the highest priorities in my life, because if I'm not, then I'm not good for my family. I'm not good for my queen. I'm not good for my daughters. I'm not good for my teammates. I'm not good for the people that we serve. So specifically, I'm in the yoga studio daily. I run and walk daily, a little bit of weights, and I make time for myself. People ask me what I do. Doing loans is a small part of it. I work from the inside out. I'm on the pursuit of happiness. I want to wake up in a good mood. I want to suffer less and be more happy. And I want that for everyone that I cross paths with. And that's most important to me, man. That's what I'm up to. I used to say things like the game is mental. As I've evolved, what comes up for me now is the game's not mental, the game is spiritual, this game of life. And it is a game, it's a dance, and being in touch with my seat of consciousness. That's where I can drive from. That's when I'm in the driver's seat. How far of a left-hand turn did I go on you on that one?
No, that's good. I'm grabbing the wheel and keep turning it that way. So for some, that means going to church, praying to Jesus or whoever, whatever. How would you describe that in a overall capacity? Or is that part of it?
That's the journey. That's what I'm trying to figure out too. It's something bigger than you. It's an inner light. It's a source energy, really, into quantum energy. We all have that within us, that divine light, and it's God. People call it different things, but it's something deep inside you that when you tap into it, you know what it is. I can't necessarily name it either, but I can feel it.
Do you believe everybody has that in them?
Absolutely. Like I said, people call it different things, and they're all correct.
All right. You just had a weird day, right? So give me what's one word that describes your mortgage life right now?
I would say resilience.
That's a big word. I've seen a lot of people, when they're in the foxhole, they become way more spiritual than they're not. And when they're riding high, how does that work with you?
Well, I've been nose to nose with the devil. I've been to hell and came out throwing buckets of fire, throwing buckets of water on people that are still on fire. Addiction had a hold of me. Fortunately, it's been about 18 and a half years since I've had a drink. But to your point, I really started on this path when I was close to death.
Wow.
So when you say when people are in the foxhole, that's when you start asking for help when I was desperate and I needed help. From that point forward, it's become a practice for me to not feel like I did back then, suffer less and to be more happy. And then as I've evolved and gotten better at it, which I still got a lot of work to do, which is fine. But as I get better, I want more of it. Feeling good feels good. I want to keep feeling good.
And when you're on that high, do you still recognize the spiritualness that you have, the practice that you have that got you there?
Of course. Absolutely. Yeah. Those are times for celebration.
All right, let's add some levity to this conversation. If anybody ever sat down any one of our conversations, you and I together, this is pretty normal, which is great. So let's lighten it up.
Yeah. I guess we could talk about interest rates and things if we.
Nah.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Nah, interest rates go and leave. They always fluctuate. They are what they are. Somebody needs a house is going to make it happen. And there are ways to make it work in every market. That's why there's still so many homes being sold. So what's one client situation that still makes you laugh or cringe?
Well, I had a good one today. The closing for a young man. It was his first home, and seeing the excitement on his face and how happy he was. He's a first generation homeowner. So he's excited, and the agent was there with her son, and it was good to get my hands on a baby and spend time with them and connect with people on a deep interpersonal level. It was a highlight for me. And then on the ride home, I got a notification that another fell out, which, ride the highs and roll the lows, man. So you got to keep going. I got a call on Tuesday for a borrower that was closing on Wednesday, said, "Hey, we're not going to close. My wife and I are divorcing."
Oh,
And then today, both of which are repeat clients. The inspection for this property turned up some safety concerns that they weren't comfortable with. They're buying this property as an investment property for his grandma to live in. So I went from having a baby in my arms and celebrating first generation homeowners to, I don't know to answer your question specifically, as to a deal that made me laugh or made me cringe.
that's a cringe.
If I allowed it to. But I'd rather not. It stings for sure. But I want to keep going, man. I had this to look forward to. So boom, I'm right back up again because I get to be here with you.
Thank you. One of the challenges we all have, negative comes at us a lot, whether it's in our own head or whether it's something that's happening around us, to us. How could you suggest that somebody turn that into or something positive, or like you just said, not let you didn't cringe when that happened?
Well, so I would say step one is awareness. Awareness gives you space. And within that space, you give yourself the opportunity to make choices rather than reacting. Awareness, developing awareness is critical. It's in that space that you created. You also give yourself the opportunity to fall back behind the noise, right? So there's all this chaos going on. I'm aware of the chaos. Time out. I fall back behind the noise, behind the chaos. And then that's my seat of consciousness, like I was mentioning before, right? And now I'm in the driver's seat. Because if I'm in the middle of all the chaos, I'm out of control. And I don't like the way that feels, right? So it's like, how do I become aware? If I'm in the middle of it and it's all going nuts. Your body will send you signals.
Instantly.
To be sure. I can feel it coming.
It's akin to putting your hand on the hot stove. You have an opportunity to take it off real quick, put water on, ice, or hold it there and scream like crazy.
Or maybe not touch it in the first place.
That's ideal. Sometimes we don't have that choice.
Yeah, you always have a choice.
I mean, like you said, things come at us. It's all about the reaction. You can't always avoid negative situations or they just come at you.
They do, to be sure. And it's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah,
Simple, not easy.
absolutely.
And, as far as the choices that we have, if you peel it back, regardless of the situation,
We have a choice on how we react.
respond
Respond.
or react.
Yeah, no, you're right. Respond, not react.
See, we're conditioned that way, man. We're used to reacting. Shit hits the fan, everybody freaks out, right? You say things you can't take back. Your blood pressure spikes. We feel like crap. We don't sleep at night. I'm perfectly imperfect.
Absolutely. We all are.
Trying.
Let's talk about a positive outcome. You had a deal that was spinning around the bowl, about to go down, and you saved it.
A recent one,
Sure.
definitely. I had the situation that you may be referring to was the VA loan. VA loans are my favorite, by the way. Love, 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 love VA loans. Love our
Right.
veterans.
Just because of what they're allowing veterans to do.
Giving back to our veterans and our active duty service members is a blessing, and I'm grateful for that. Fairway is very involved with the military community. We've self-sourced and raised all of the money to train and place over 400 service dogs.
Nice.
To the point now where it's just such a part of who we are that Fairway teammates are fostering the dogs that are being trained that we give to the service members, which is just great. So my borrower, it got to be, a little bit of a stressful situation for the spouse of my active duty service member that was deployed, and she was on her own. Buying a house is a lot, especially for first time, and she was feeling the pressure of it. And they were in great shape. So it was no issues. It's just a lot of stuff when you haven't done it before, as being a witness to a stressful situation. Because for those of us that are in the business, what's mundane to us is a big, big deal for the people that we're serving. That's why one of our mantras is to make the mundane meaningful. So the stuff that we do all the time, that's like, blinking, for us is a really big deal for the people that we serve. So we pay attention to that, we make that meaningful. But going back to this scenario I was, sharing with, it was stressful for her. And as a witness, I was able to remove myself from how I could have interpreted communications that we were receiving, etc., to giving grace and being compassionate for how the people that we're taking care of, how must they be feeling? Right. And it was very helpful to me. And they closed everything, everything was fine. Everything works out in the end.
Yeah. You use the word witness.
Yeah, I use that a lot.
Yeah. The silent observer, the witness. We are all witnesses, right? We have our roles, what we're witnessing, and it's our decision how we act. If we want to jump in that, or how we get in there. So to have that perspective of being a witness is already putting you back a little bit. I don't mean back in a way that you're not paying attention on. It's just that you're able to really witness what's going on and see for what it is.
It's another dimension. It's a different perspective. And one of my teachers pointed out to me, where you can say hello to yourself. And it's interesting to notice that we're not our thoughts. Really, we're not the one even having our thoughts. Who we are on a conscious level of consciousness as the witness, we're the one noticing it.
Does it just show up, or do you have to be intentional about making it happen?
First, I'm intentional about it. I intend to be intentional about it. It's always there, even if you're not intentional about it. But when you are intentional, it's like tuning in an old stereo when you had to get it just right. You know what I mean? Like turning the knob. When you tune it, you get tuned in, turned on, tapped in. What I would refer to as a flow state. When you're vibrating on a high frequency, you feel that. It may not happen often, but whomever's listening to this call, I would venture to say that everybody's felt it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm aiming for. I'm down here in the muck, shoveling shit constantly. But when I tune out, tap in, and I'm dialed in and I'm flowing, I'm going, whoo.
So what is one thing that consumers don't understand about what you do that you wish they did?
So I would say that, when people are shopping for a mortgage, while, rates and the costs associated with any transaction are certainly of importance, what folks are actually shopping for is guidance.
They just don't know that. Yeah.
Not a lot of people don't, right? So people will call and say things like, I want to know what you can do for me. And, I'm shopping for mortgages and, and rates and fees. And then I start listening and, give folks the opportunities to share with me and start asking questions. And all of the questions that people are guidance oriented questions. They have nothing to do with price. So what you're really looking for is guidance.
Yeah.
And that's what we provide. I'm a high-level mortgage strategist. I'm not an application taker. I'm a terrible salesperson, which I'm totally comfortable saying. I don't compete for price. I'm not interested in that. I know my worth. I know what fulfills me in the work that I do. And, competing for price isn't it. Developing a meaningful interpersonal connection and relationship with the people that we serve and, giving them the guidance and providing an experience that they'll remember, that fulfills me. I'm here for that. But here's check out our reviews and let the people that we've served do the talking for us. And my point is that I don't know what percentage of them, but it's low. Mention anything about price.
Right.
They're all talking about how they felt. And my personal business mantra is that the numbers are the easy part. What matters is how you make people feel. People will never forget how you made them feel, right? The intention is for people to feel comfortable.
Yeah, the rates are the rates.
Sure. There's always somebody that'll do it cheaper. That's fine. can give you a cheap price, but that doesn't mean that you're going to, one, get across the finish line,
Right.
especially get across the finish line with a bow wrapped around it and a big smile on your face. You might get across the finish line eventually, battered and bruised. If you point your energy towards aspects of fear, you will get more of that, right? So shifting my perspective, pointing my energy towards aspects of love and joy makes that more abundant in my life. And that's what I'm aiming for.
That's great. I think we got a good idea of who Colin Thomerson is. This was great. Colin, thanks for coming on and sharing.
Thank you for having me,
Glad-
Matthew.
It's always fun. All right, viewer, subscribe. We always bring on insightful people like Colin. Be best. Have fun.